Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar. This webinar will be focusing on challenges and solutions for building and managing applications in a virtual environment. My name is Lisa Wong, and I represent LOGON Software. Our company is a Flexera partner. LOGON has been operating since 1993, primarily in Asia, with local offices in key locations and strategic channel partnerships in others. Yes. So we do have training courses, InstallShield, InstallAnywhere, and AdminStudio. LOGON offers tools and services that are concerned with the development, testing, deployment, and support of software releases. So do visit our website for more information. So today, in the light of pandemic, we look at how to leverage packaging automation for application management across the enterprise that is now become the distributed enterprise with people working from home across various network providers and different devices. We look at how to be on top of the application management game using automation for application management and features of AdminStudio that allows users to save time and increase productivity. So today, I am excited to have with us our senior consultant, Mr. Kiran. Kiran has over 18 years hands-on experience in consulting and training all over Asia. Today, Kiran will focus on a topic that's crucial today, that is application management in a virtualized world. So please join me in welcoming Kiran. Kiran?
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Hope everybody is safe and doing well. If you have any questions to ask at any point of time, please raise your hand in the meeting and I'll be able to address it. Yeah, today the work from home has changed the shape of the enterprise completely. We are geographically distributed. We work with various network providers and we work with various data service providers. The point is, ultimately, within an enterprise, we know that we have certain standards for networks and so on and security things. But as far as the public networks goes, where the employees connect remotely or from different places, we are not sure of security and so on, right? So how do we ensure that we have our applications delivered to all the end customers who are our end users, per se, or employees or vendors or whoever else, with the latest updates and make sure that we are still secure. So that's what we'll talk about. And today, virtualization of applications has taken a big step, and enterprises are leveraging that in many ways. So some of the prime benefits we see when it comes to virtualization of applications are high availability of the application. We look at heterogeneous devices. For example, somebody could be working on Mac, somebody could be working on Windows ecosystem, somebody could be on different operating system like an Android device or whatever. So we are in a heterogeneous world, which we are managing as a homogeneous enterprise. So that's one of the things. And scalability and agility anyway come with the virtualization. It's very easy to spin off a machine and make it available or provision resources on a need basis. Now, applications are very independent of devices compared to what it was a few years ago. So if I had to buy an Office license, I will have to install it on Windows, then I need to get a version that works on Mac and so on and so on. And this gave IT teams a lot of nightmare in terms of keeping them updated and patching and some patch not working and things like that. So centralized management becomes a key word for us so that the IT team can ensure that all applications are at the same level across all devices based on their availability. This has greatly reduced the cost and consolidation and so on in terms of server sprawl and application servers running without control and things like that. Then security is one of the key words everybody is using. It's even more important in today's situation because, like we said, we are working from a lot of public networks and so on. And again, bring your own devices is not a new concept now, but yes, now it's catching more steam as far as I see it or I come across. Many people prefer to work with the device of their choice and their convenience. This also brings down costs to the organization in terms of IT assets, in terms of hardware, and so on. Now, virtual desktops and virtual hardware have become order of the day most of the times because it's very easy to provide a virtual machine as compared to a physical device. Now, mobility, yeah, today I don't think that's an issue anywhere. As long as we're connected, we can work from anywhere. And remote management of resources also becomes a big thing. So it becomes more easier. So what are the challenges we see here? One of the biggest thing that we come across is server sprawl. We have large inventory of hardware to consolidate. So typically, if you look at it, the businesses have gone out of control. I mean, they've grown and they've grown in a very unplanned manner. For example, I needed a new software with a new server, so add a new hardware, add a new server. Now, over a point of time, we have so many servers and applications that it has to be consolidated at one point of time, and virtualization has basically helped here. Now, while this has helped in the hardware point of view, the bigger problem comes when it comes to consolidation of software assets in terms of licensing, in terms of management. So that's where the problem comes. So that's where we look at it. Now, hardware management, yes, we can do it via virtualization. When it comes to hardware, we do not have an issue. But what about software? So typically, this is what we come across. We have a very large application inventory, which means that the updates and things have to be validated, verified, and qualified and certified as safe by the IT team before they're deployed onto the enterprise across various channels. So, which means it can be anything. It can be your AppV, it can be Citrix, it can be ZenWorks, it can be cloud, or just anywhere. Now, each of these systems come with their own mechanisms to deploy your applications, patches, and upgrades. They have their own complexities, which I'm sure we are aware of, based on the familiarity of the system that we have across our enterprise. But what can we do? I mean, let's say that we can be informed in advance and know what are we getting into. Next, we can manage our applications end to end in a better manner by being informed. At least I know that out of the 50 applications that I'm going to roll out today, 30 will work, 15 will need some manual intervention, and maybe the rest of them are not compatible at all. Or maybe they're just not ready to go on my network yet. So even simple things like application patches or operating system patches, just any of these things, they can be tested before we know that they're ready to be deployed rather than deploy them and then struggle with it later on and find out, okay, these things did not work. Then we are ready to deploy and good to go. We have all the applications to speed with the latest patches and with the latest updates and so on. So that way we are clear. Now, the biggest problem here we see is how much time and effort does it take to handle an inventory which is large in terms of software inventory. I could have something like 10,000 plus applications which are running across my enterprise end to end. How do I know all of them are updated? How do I know that each update or patch the vendor is releasing is secure, reliable, and will work each time? How do I know if it's going to be incompatible with something else? Now, these are tests which are typically done manually. So here with AdminStudio, we have introduced a concept called as hands-off packaging, where this hard work of qualifying patches, updates, and upgrades and deploying to the entire enterprise, being a very laborious and time-consuming task, will help us actually to let us know with my existing applications, how compatible is it and what's going to break and what will not break even before I'm ready to deploy it. So we call that as hands-off packaging. With hands-off packaging, we are able to automatically detect the new versions of all the applications that are in the enterprise. download them directly into your application software inventory, test for compatibility. It can be an operating system compatibility, it can be across application compatibility, or just whatever possible combinations that are logically possible. Then you can convert them to any of the virtualized packages automatically in automatic manner. For example, AppFree or MSIX or MSI or just any other thing, Citrix or Novel ZenWorks, either of them. A lot of companies have their own standards for packaging and repackaging applications. So a lot of them would like to wrap their applications around with a PowerShell or a Y script. So we already have this template-based system where you can use the PowerShell scripts and Y scripts to wrap your vendor setups. And when you're ready to deploy, we can push it directly to SCCM or Microsoft Intune or ZenWorks, Altiris, or whatever other system that is used in the organization to deploy applications. So for this, we follow a very simple process. First step towards that is consolidate, then assess, then convert them, deploy, and manage. So when we say consolidate, we make an inventory of all your existing applications, find out how many of them are at the latest level or whatever patch level or whatever updates they are at. Then we'll assess the readiness and convert all the qualified apps which pass the assessment test to the target environment. And we automate the whole thing and simply deploy them. And then you manage them via your regular practices of updating applications on AppFree, Citrix, or ZenWorks. So this is the process we have. Now this whole thing we're going to be automate, calling it as a package automation. Again, that's a very what you would say, disciplined way of doing things. So within the Admin Studio, you have these options. One is to import, then match the applications one by one. When you configure them, when you schedule your updates, so subscribe to updates as and when they come in, then you get notified. The next few steps, I'll explain to you how it is done. So you can get an overview of how it is going to help manage large software inventory and make sure that you are on top of the game. So in Admin Studio, we have these where you can use a comma separated value file. This can be generated from any of your existing software inventory systems. You can call it config manager, SCCM, or FlexNet manager, or any other system that you use to manage your software inventory. You can import that into Admin Studio. Then you need to map 3 fields called the product name, the product vendor, and the product version from your CSV, and this tell Admin Studio that okay, these are the columns in the data file which map to this. Once this is done, you can see within the Admin Studio interface, for each product, it will tell you who's the vendor, what is the current version, and this version in catalog as in your Admin Studio catalog, do you really have this application or not? If you do not have it, it will show it as a no match. Otherwise, it will show you an existing version of the product which is already put into your application catalog. Next, and it will show you what is the latest version of that particular product available automatically from the vendor. And then that is marked with an asterisk or a star so that you know this is the latest version available to you. So this is how you do the matching. And once the matching is done, you can configure the actions which are basically to test, wrap them with whatever PowerShell script or any other Y script, and convert them and publish it. So here, if you look at it, from the actions to configure, you can choose one of the options. And you can set a target distribution system, which can be a config manager, SCCM, or whatever else. And any other group you want, you can configure it here. Once this is configured, you can schedule when it will look for updates. Frequency, time, and any particular day that you would like it to do. And there it goes. It's all set. Once this is done, you can ask it to automatically either subscribe without human intervention, or you could go and tell it, wait, I want you to update automatically because I trust this vendor. Now, if it's something that you want to verify before testing it and getting it ready out for deployment, you can always ask it to do not subscribe manually. These updates you can manually anyway do it from the AdminStudio interface. So once the subscriptions are done and you're all set, as and when an update is available, you are notified via an email, and you have the log status of all the actions that have run automatically. So you know how many of them got updated, how many of them got failed, and so on. Plus, this also tells you out of your software inventory, which is there in form of a very visual reporting. It shows you in a very simple manner. Out of all the applications that you have in your inventory, how many have been automatically updated, how many can be automated, but they will still need some help in terms of uh, IT team intervention, and how many applications are not supported at all in terms of automatic updates and so on. Once we are done with this step, here I'm assuming that, let's put some number on this. Out of 10,000 packages if are running in your company, just imagine that 5,000 packages go through automatically. That saves a lot of time. So you can always see how much time to effort ratio goes. Then when you say deploy, yes, you're ready to deploy to Microsoft Intune. Yes, we can create Intune packages very easily without any great difficulty. If you have an MSI package already, you can simply push it into Intune directly. It can be published directly into Intune. Then if you're having any of the legacy packages which have been repackaged, they will need some help to be manually deployed. This can be deployed to Workspace ONE or LAN Desk or Altiris or just any of them. The target is yours. Yeah. Now, what are the benefits of package automation? Well, here are some of these. You will know that every application in your catalog, you can always find out how many applications are managed and how many are unmanaged. So you can focus more on the unmanaged applications, saving a lot of time and effort. Then again, you can assess every single application in the catalog and make sure that the Admin Studio's package feed module is fully used, is one part. And you can identify all those applications which are eligible for automatic updates. So even if 50% of your packages are automatically, let's say, updated in an automated fashion, that saves a lot of time and effort. So that's one of the biggest benefit you get. And then you can select and choose all the applications that need to be subscribed. And since you know that there is a finite way of working with it without any surprises popping up, you can automate all those activities for those packages. And over a point of time, I'm sure that the knowledge base will go on much better, and the confidence levels of automation for packaging will really uh, get better. That saves a lot of time and effort. So now we are open to questions and answers. So feel free to ask any question that you feel like.
Hi, Kiran. So
Yeah.
when you talked about the challenges, how do people manage a large inventory of over 5,000 applications, and how would Admin Studio help?
Yeah. To answer that question, if you look at a large inventory of 5,000 applications, also qualifying them with updates and patches and ensuring that no other application breaks with it, or let's say that it will not cause any other application to malfunction or stop functioning or those issues. Testing them for operating system compatibility, let's say, for example, Windows 10, a certain build or a certain build. That itself is a long drawn exercise. We need to look at a lot of test cases and ensure that they're passing all of them so that they can be qualified for deploying. The IT team usually has a nightmare working with such packages. So it's a pretty laborious task. So AdminStudio helps you by automating all these test tasks. What usually takes a matter of days can be done in a matter of hours. So something like, let's say your 5,000 packages, I wouldn't want anyone to go through that. Even if you have to qualify them with 10 people working, I can imagine the number of days it would take. Now, AdminStudio will automate all of this to a point where you can do this in, let's say, 2 days, or maybe let's say 1 day at the most, depending on the complexity of the test that you suggest, uh, uh, asking AdminStudio to perform. It could take anywhere between 1 or 2 days, not more than that. So that's a lot of manual effort saved, which can be used in a better way. It can be used for better purposes. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I got one more question from the audience. So you mentioned about hands-off packaging. Can you explain more about this?
Yes. Hands-off packaging is all about, like for example, I told you, if I take, let's say, a very common application used by most companies is 7-zip and WinZip. And you have this .NET framework which keeps coming up for a lot of developers, and the SQL Server updates, patches. Now, these are patches and applications, or any updates is up. These applications typically means that they will have to test the update and qualify it before deployment. Now, this is a tedious task, right? So when it's a hands-off packaging in AdminStudio, I will put this in my inventory, like I showed you earlier in one of the screens. So once it is there in my inventory, I can ask AdminStudio to go and verify with that vendor, say, hey, do you have an update, which I can download? And it will automatically update the application on its own, rather than somebody in the IT team downloading the update, making sure it's qualified, passed, tested, and then ready to deploy, and then make it available to the enterprise. So this entire task of downloading an update, qualifying it with your test cases, and then making sure it is ready to go live is automated.
Thank you.
You're
Also,
welcome.
you have mentioned a process in one of your slides where there's consolidate, assess, convert, deploy. Is this a process that is used as a standard?
Yes, it is a standard process. That's what everyone does, a lot of enterprises. And this is just a very high level approach to the high level overview of the process. But based on the organizations and their enterprise policies and whatever rules they set, that can really get more deeper and more complex. But that's the entire overview. Typically, that's a very high level understanding of the process. So when we say consolidate, we put a list of all the applications that are running in the organization with licenses and so on. And when you say assess, we find out if the current software applications are ready to go to the next operating system, or they need some upgrade or whatever rules that they need to set in order to ensure that applications work seamlessly in their enterprise. Yeah, so that's a high level process that we follow. Yep.
Okay, I have someone raising their hand in the attendees. Ram, you have a question?
Hello, yes. So what I have understood is like now Admin Studio have ability to store the application data as well as Admin Studio can deploy applications to the systems and they can handle the auto update, right? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and sorry, it might be a silly question, but what is the version of Admin Studio right now? I mean, the current version,
2020.
latest version.
The latest version is AdminStudio 2020.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
That's not a silly question, sir. So it's a very valid question.
Okay, does anyone have any other questions? If not, then I'm sure that you'll find this event very useful. So we will close the session now. And thank you, Kiran, for joining us today for explaining a lot about application management in the virtualized world. And I hope you find this useful, and I hope to see you soon on our next event. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.